Would you live in a house if you knew you weren't the only one there? I went down the Zillow rabbit hole so you don't have to, and what I found is honestly terrifying. We are counting down 10 real-life houses for sale right now that are reportedly actually haunted. We're talking voices in the basement, clerical errors in the death records, and one house that has been on the market for 600 days because nobody will stay the night. If you're brave enough, hit that like button, and let's look at house number 1. At number 1, we have the Beard and Lady Inn. Located at 411 East Front Avenue in Chester, Arkansas, the Beard and Lady Inn is currently listed on Zillow for $1,999,999. This 9,600 square foot brick fortress was built in 1887 by a U.S. Marshal and stands as the only original structure in town to survive 2 catastrophic fires and 2 town-wide floods. On Zillow, it is marketed as a beautifully restored 11-room boutique hotel and apothecary. But in the Ozarks, its reputation is built on the fact that the building and some of its residents seem to be tied to the land forever. The most famous spirit is a man named Clarence, a 19th century guest, who reportedly froze to death on the balcony of room number 4 after a night of heavy drinking. While the Zillow photos show a cozy, high-end guest suite, visitors frequently report the sound of heavy, rhythmic bootsteps pacing the hallway outside that specific door in the dead of night. Additionally, train conductors on the tracks directly in front of the inn have reported seeing 2 women in Victorian gowns, known as Ruby and Pearl, waving from second-floor windows that were confirmed to be completely vacant at the time. What makes this listing truly eerie is the evidence left behind in the architecture itself. The Zillow photos showcase original wood and brickwork, but they don't explicitly mention the bullet holes in the upstairs ceilings or the rumors of a permanent dark discoloration on the floorboards that resists all sanding and sealant. The owners have leaned into the mystery, giving the rooms names like the fear of being alone, acknowledging that at this price point, you aren't just buying a historic business, you're buying a property where the vacancy sign never truly applies to everyone. At number 2, we have the Priestley House. Listed at $988,000, the Priestley House in Canton, Mississippi is a Greek revival masterpiece that has become a legend on Zillow for its staggering days on market count. On paper, it is a dream property: 4 bedrooms, a grand library, and a music room spread across 5,200 square feet of award-winning restoration. However, the listing has been on and off the market for years, often crossing the 600-day mark without a single buyer. In the real estate world, that is a massive red flag, usually suggesting hidden structural issues. But for this house, the problem isn't the foundation, it is the permanent residents who have lived there since 1852. The haunting centers on Dr. James Priestley and his wife Susan, who both died in the home during a yellow fever outbreak. While the Zillow photos show a sun-drenched, pristine nursery upstairs, local lore and previous owners claim this is Susan's favorite spot. Passers-by frequently report seeing a woman in 19th century clothing standing perfectly still in that window, watching the street below. Inside, the activity is reportedly more aggressive. One former owner famously fled the property after witnessing heavy silver candles being ripped from their holders and hearing a piano play complex melodies while the lid was securely locked. These reports were so persistent, they actually landed the house a feature on the TV show, The Unexplained Files. What makes this Zillow deep dive so unsettling is the contrast between the elegant imagery and the home's tragic history. You will see a modern, high-end kitchen in the photos, but that room actually served as the doctor's original examining room, where dozens of patients spent their final hours. The property remains one of the most famous bargains in the South. But the high turnover rate suggests that while the price is right, most buyers find that they simply cannot handle being the third wheel in the Priestley's eternal marriage. At number 3, we have the Dakota. The most exclusive and arguably the most cursed address in New York City, the Dakota, located at 1 West 72nd Street. Apartment 74 is currently listed on Zillow for a staggering $16,750,000. For that price, you get 4 bedrooms, direct views of Central Park, and nearly 14-foot ceilings. But you also get a front row seat to over a century of high society hauntings. This building wasn't just the setting for the horror classic Rosemary's Baby. It is a place where the residents have been reporting uninvited guests since the day the doors opened in 1884. The most famous spirit in the building is undoubtedly John Lennon, who was tragically murdered just outside the archway in 1980. Even before his death, Lennon reported seeing a figure he called the Crying Lady wandering the hallways. Since his passing, his widow, Yoko Ono, who still lives in the building, has claimed to see John's spirit sitting at his white piano, telling her not to be afraid. But the hauntings in apartment 74 go deeper than just one famous name. Residents and staff have frequently reported seeing a young girl in a yellow taffeta dress. She is often seen in the lower floor windows and hallways, bouncing a red ball and telling anyone she meets that today is her birthday. What the Zillow listing won't tell you is that the building's original owner, Edward Clark, was an avid spiritualist who held frequent seances within these very walls to communicate with the dead. Many believe those sessions opened doors that never quite closed. In apartment 74, the atmosphere is heavy with preserved pre-war detail, from the hand-carved mahogany doors to the original wood-burning fireplaces. But pay close attention to the mirrors and the shadows in the long galleries. In a building where the HOA fees alone are over $18,000 a month, it seems even the dead have to pay a premium to stay. The Dakota is a masterpiece of architecture. But for $16 million, you have to decide if you are comfortable sharing your Central Park view with the ghosts of New York's Gilded Age. At number 4, we have the Allen Mansion. Deep in the heart of historic Delavan, Wisconsin, sits a property that looks like it was ripped straight from a Gothic novel. The Allen Mansion, located at 511 East Walworth Avenue, has cycled on and off the market for years, recently carrying a price tag of over $1 million. This massive 12-bedroom Queen Anne Victorian is a masterpiece of Eastlake architecture, featuring 10 working fireplaces and ornate frescoed ceilings. But while the Zillow photos show museum-quality antiques and award-winning restoration work, the local legends tell a story of a family that never quite moved out. The history of the home is inextricably tied to its builder, Alexander Allen, who lived in the mansion until his death in 1913. According to legend, Allen died while sitting in his favorite parlor chair, reading his morning mail. Since then, guests and staff of the building, which has served as everything from a nursing home to a furniture store, have reported seeing an elderly gentleman in a dark suit sitting in that very same spot. He is said to be a quiet spirit, simply watching the modern world pass him by. But his presence is so strong that multiple people have claimed to feel the temperature drop the moment they enter his favorite room. The hauntings grew more diverse during the building's years as a nursing home. Residents reported seeing shadow figures in the long upstairs hallways and the sound of disembodied whispers coming from the servants' quarters. The Zillow listing highlights the 9,500 square feet of living space. But it doesn't mention that some of those rooms were the site of countless final breaths during its medical years. Even after a multi-million-dollar restoration intended to bring the house back to its 1885 glory, the activity hasn't stopped. From objects moving on their own in the kitchen to the unmistakable sound of footsteps on the grand staircase when the house is empty. The Allen Mansion remains one of Wisconsin's most beautiful and most crowded active real estate listings. If you have $1 million and don't mind a housemate who's been dead for over a century, this might be the perfect bargain for you. At number 5, we have the Tillson Apothecary. Nestled in the historic village of Romeo, the Tilson Apothecary House at 124 North Main Street is a property that truly blurs the line between a family home and a historical monument. Listed on Zillow for $650,000, this Victorian served as both a residence and a high-end apothecary for the Tilson family for over a century. While the listing highlights the pristine woodwork and the charming wraparound porch, it conveniently leaves out that many locals consider this the most active spirit hub in the entire county. The haunted reputation of this house isn't just about the local ghost stories, it is about the location. Every year, this specific property is at the heart of one of the biggest Halloween events in the country. Thousands of people walk past this yard to see the elaborate displays, and the house itself has become a landmark for those who love the macabre. For under $300,000, you aren't just buying a 3-bedroom Victorian, you are buying into a street where the history of the house is celebrated by the entire community every single year. At number 6, we have the house in Appalachia. Located at 120 Roytown Street in Somerset, Pennsylvania, this unassuming two-story home became a viral sensation for all the wrong reasons. Currently sitting on the market as a fixer-upper, the property is famous for a series of Zillow photos that appear to show a pale, human-like figure standing in the windows of the overgrown front porch. While most agents try to stage a home with flowers or modern furniture, this listing went live with what looked like a resident who refused to leave. The house was built in the early 1900s and is being sold in as-is condition for a price that reflects its significant need for repair. The Zillow photos inside the home don't help ease the tension. Even in the middle of a sunny day, the interior rooms appear unnaturally dark, with peeling wallpaper and a strange, hand-painted star on the ceiling of one of the bedrooms. Local rumors suggest that the house has a heavy energy, and the fact that it has sat on the market while other homes in the area sell quickly has only added to the legend. Whether it is a trick of the lens or a genuine glimpse of the past, the house at 120 Roytown remains a chilling example of why you should always look closely at the background of a Zillow photo. At number 7, we have the Conjuring House. Located at 1677 Round Top Road in Burrillville, Rhode Island, the Old Arnold Estate, better known as the Conjuring House, is a property where the real estate numbers are as shocking as the ghost stories. According to the Zillow listing, this single-family home was built in 1736 and sits on 8.5 acres of land. It features 4 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms spread across 3,023 square feet of living space. The house gained worldwide notoriety as the inspiration for the movie The Conjuring, based on the experiences of the Perron family in the 1970s. According to the accounts of investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren, the home was plagued by a malevolent spirit known as Bathsheba Sherman. While historians have debated the specific details of the haunting, the property's history is undeniably heavy. The Zillow data shows the home has remained a landmark of the area for nearly 300 years, maintaining its original 1800s character despite the massive influx of media attention and paranormal tourism. You aren't just paying for a 4-bedroom farmhouse, you are paying for the most famous haunted brand in American cinema. The listing captures a property that has transitioned from a quiet colonial residence into a global destination for investigators. For over $1.5 million, the owner is buying into a legacy of nearly 3 centuries of documented history in a house where the past is literally built into the 3,000 square feet of its foundation. Thanks so much for watching and staying until the end. If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like and let us know if you would stay in any of these houses.